The following video was recorded by Ben Bauer and Zach Bryant, who returned to an abandoned factory they had previously explored, a place already surrounded by disturbing rumors, including reports of paranormal activity in a history tied to tragic events, including suicides that many believe may have left something lingering inside the structure. As they approach the building, preparing to enter, something immediately feels off. Watch.
That was too cunt. Hello? Hello? Zach. Oh my god. That was walking down.
It was.
Hello?
That's it.
No, that's walking. Bro, get out. Right, no, that's walking.
Before they even make their way inside, they begin hearing footsteps, clear and deliberate, as if someone is already moving around inside, despite the building being completely abandoned. Eventually, they find a way into the building, pushing further inside to investigate, but the deeper they go, the more the atmosphere begins to shift. Strange noises begin to surface, subtle at first, then harder to ignore. Watch.
I didn't hear anything.
Check the footage when we get over.
Oh, what the I can't remember if things were like this when we were here.
No, I don't think it will.
Bro, look at the water.
Fuck.
That was mumbling. I just said,
Yeah.
I got it on camera. Bro. I'm getting it on camera.
What is that walking?
Something's mumbling. Can you hear it? Is it? Bro. Oh. Bro. I feel like someone is here.
Yeah, very now.
Wait.
Don't you like?
They call out, trying to confirm if someone else is inside, repeating themselves, waiting for any kind of response. But the silence that follows feels just as unsettling as the sounds themselves, because whatever is there doesn't answer. It only listens, and that's when they make a decision that many viewers immediately questioned. Instead of backing out, they decide to provoke a response. They bring out a Ouija board. Watch.
Feel that heat as you walk up.
Oh yeah. I reckon do the Ouija board in this room. Yeah, this looks.
I sounded like the roof.
Knocking? Yeah, it sounded like boom. That was knocking.
Was it?
Bro. Are there any spirits here with us tonight? Move to yes. There it is again. There it is again. What the f*** is that? Bro, that was down here. Hello?
Using a Ouija board in a location already tied to death and heavy history is something many consider extremely risky, because rather than simply observing, it opens the door to interaction, inviting anything present to respond, to engage, to make itself known more directly. and almost immediately, something does. They begin to hear movement again, but this time, it's different. The sound of something running up the stairs, not walking, but running towards them. They didn't stay to find out what it was, and honestly, it's hard to blame them, because when something starts moving toward you in a place that should be empty after you've actively tried to make contact, instinct takes over. Most of us wouldn't have waited either. This next clip centers around a moment that likely would have been dismissed instantly if not for one thing: the camera capturing it in real time. A young boy in a wheelchair is moving through what appears to be a quiet area, casually recording, with nothing unusual happening at first. Nothing that would make anyone expect what's about to appear. Watch. At first glance, everything seems normal, but when you look at the mirror behind him, a white figure is seen moving. Some viewers believe this could be a classic apparition, a presence that doesn't fully manifest in the physical space, but becomes visible through reflective surfaces, something that has been reported in various paranormal accounts, where mirrors seem to act as a kind of window rather than just a reflection. Without this footage, without that one moment captured in the mirror, this would have remained just another story no one believed, something easily brushed off or ignored. But now there's something to look at, something to question, and something that still hasn't been explained. Now in this next clip, a man and a woman had just finished saging their home and decided to go live on social media with a group of friends. Something that started as an informal spiritual cleansing, but quickly turned into something neither of them was prepared for. The house was completely dark, the only light coming from the glowing ember of the sage and a small blue electronic light nearby. And the mood, at first, was relatively calm. The man even says on camera that he doesn't feel anything dark in the room, but then the sound started. Watch.
I don't feel anything dark in here. Do you? No. It's probably because we're not like. Please leave. Or get out of here. You're not welcome here. Oh my God. Gotta leave. Shall I say Jesus?
Yeah, I don't even know at this point.
We have Jesus here with the... Where's my keys? Okay, let's go. You go first. Go. Look where Look where it's at now. It's behind the couch. Y'all see that? It's behind the couch. Look where it's at, in front of the mirror. Look. See the mirror? It's in front of the mirror now. Turn all the lights on. Turn that light on over there too. I'll turn it on.
A sharp metallic clatter at first, almost dismissible, followed by an extremely violent crash, erupting from somewhere off camera, loud enough to make him yell out and grip the phone. He held his ground, addressing whatever was in the room directly, telling it to leave, even asking if he should call on the name of Jesus. And then, mid-sentence, a heavy thump cut him off entirely. That second sound, the one that interrupted him, sent him running. Both of them left the house for over an hour, but here's the thing. When they came back and unlocked the door, The sage stick, which had been sitting near the blue light in the center of the room, was no longer there. If you look carefully at where it's glowing, you can see it's now positioned near the mirror. Some believe this is a direct response to the spiritual cleansing, that invoking protection, especially through religious invocation, provoked a reaction rather than resolved one. Others think the object moving is the more unsettling detail, because it suggests something wasn't just making noise, it was interacting. So what do you think moved it? The following video was recorded by two employees, a man and a woman, working a closing shift alone at what appears to be a commercial food service location, the kind of place where most people are gone by a certain hour and whoever's left behind is completely on their own. According to the man, who started filming almost immediately after it happened, the two of them had walked into the walk-in freezer during their shift when the door simply stopped opening. No mechanical warning, no explanation, just a sealed exit and the ambient hum of industrial refrigeration. Watch.
We're the only two on shift and we are trapped inside. Literally push. Okay.
Oh my god, stop!
See?
Damn!
We are. Oh wow, it's
Oh my
real
god, oh
dark.
my god, oh my god.
We are literally trapped in the walk-in.
Ready?
Look. Push hard, push hard.
I am! Oh my gosh.
So, this is what the spirits do in this store. I can't breathe. Okay. So, I'm out of breath. Am I that out of shape? Spirit, is there a reason that you're doing this right now? Did we do something to upset you? It is so cold.
Oh, I'm freezing.
Okay, so this is some of the stuff that happens. So we're just gonna wait until it's done.
The man presses his full body weight against that large, grey, insulated door, and it doesn't budge. And then the overhead light shuts off entirely, leaving the two of them in the dark with only the woman's phone flashlight cutting through the cold air, their breath visible as vapor, and 6 rapid knocks echoing from somewhere they can't identify. He addresses the darkness directly, asking the spirit whether they'd done something to upset it, and the almost casual way he says it, like he's had this kind of conversation before, is what makes the moment feel less like a stunt and more like something these two already half expected. What's harder to dismiss is the sequence of that knocking, because it didn't come from the door they were pushing against. It came from somewhere else inside that enclosed space, and by the time they share that nervous laugh at the end of the clip, nearly every viewer in the comments had stopped treating it as a coincidence. In the next footage, things don't calm down, they get more structured. Watch.
It's 4:58. We're gonna call another employee
Literally.
and try to get him to come in if this doesn't open in time.
You better pick up. I'm so cold.
Every time we tap. Wait, what if I tap 3? Now you won't flicker the light? Really? Hello? Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
What the hell? Oh my god. What the fuck?
It's getting so cold that my hands are pruning. This is good. Can you flicker the light if you are upset? Can you... I don't even know what to ask.
Can you put...
And this knob? Oh, whoa.
What the hell?
Doesn't even do anything.
The light fixture begins responding directly and immediately to what's being said, flickering off the moment the man asks it to, turning back on when he goes quiet, and the woman's reactions, the sharp gasps, the what the hell, the genuine disbelief in her voice, don't read like performance. They read like someone who keeps expecting a rational explanation and keeps not finding one. When a haunting manifests through light rather than shadow, some paranormal researchers describe it as a lower energy presence, something that can't yet move physical objects, but can draw from electrical current, a theory sometimes connected to poltergeist behavior in its earlier stages, where the entity builds from small disturbances toward larger ones. Skeptics would point to a faulty ballast or a worn electrical contact inside the fixture, and honestly, that explanation holds right up until the moment the light responds to a specific question in under a second. Then it gets worse. Watch.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Is there a reason that you have us in the walk-in?
What? Oh my.
What time is it now? We have been in here for like 15 minutes total. Maybe like 11.
Holy shit.
Can you please let us out, Spirit? Is Dan on his way?
I called him. Yeah, he said he's coming now.
Okay. So I'm gonna literally go back here to the back of the walk-in so the fan's not blowing on me. Can you show my arm?
Literally,
I'm like
my hands are freezing.
pruning from the cold. That's how long we've been in here. Oh. I have goosebumps. Just flickering. Oh,
Oh, okay.
nope, that didn't work. I'm not understanding. Oh my god!
They ask the spirit directly whether it has a reason for keeping them inside, and the light flashes on in what feels like an answer, then later flickers erratically, while a cardboard box launches off the top shelf with a force that sends both of them into genuine panic. That box didn't slide. It came off with momentum, and the timing, right as the light was going haywire, and one of them said, "I don't understand this," makes the sequence hard to chalk up to vibration or uneven shelving. Some people watching these clips have started using the term poltergeist, which comes from the German words for noisy ghost, and traditionally describes an entity associated with physical disturbances, thrown objects, slamming doors, disrupted electricity, often linked in folklore to emotionally charged environments, or, in some traditions, to a specific living person in the space acting as an unwitting focal point. Whether that framework fits here is something you'd have to decide for yourself. The escalation continues into the next clip, and this is where it crosses into something more physical. Watch.
Oh my god!
Stop.
Okay, Spirit. Okay, I'm back under here.
The light's like off now.
I know. I don't understand what we did. Can you just let us out? Like, it's so stupid. Okay, great.
Oh my
thank
God.
you for that. Is there a reason that we're in here?
Is that like a yes?
I don't know.
Oh my god.
Okay, so okay.
Oh.
We honestly don't know what's going on, and
God.
it's just flickering. Oh,
Oh, okay.
nope, that didn't work. I'm not understanding. Oh my god.
Stop.
Okay, Spirit. Okay. Just wait. Relax.
After the light responds again to a direct question, the woman saying, "That was a yes," when it flickers, the man reaches up and actually tries to unscrew the cover of the light fixture, seemingly trying to find a mechanical cause, and the moment the light goes out completely, and he's still holding the cover, a white container and several other items are thrown violently from the top shelf. The crash loud enough to make the camera jerk downward, the woman screaming and then laughing from nerves, because sometimes that's all you can do. He tells the spirit to relax, and the fact that that's his response, not running, not shutting the camera off, but talking to whatever is in there with them, says something about how far gone the situation already is. For many viewers following this series, that thrown object is the turning point, because light manipulation can be explained, a stuck door can be explained, but something leaving a shelf with that kind of force in direct response to someone disturbing the fixture is a different category of activity entirely. And like and subscribe if you're enjoying watching this video. The next clip may be the most unsettling of all, because by this point the two of them have been locked inside for roughly 20 minutes and the activity isn't winding down. Watch.
Know what's going on, and
God.
it's just flickering. Oh,
Oh, okay.
nope, that didn't work. I'm not understanding. Oh my god.
stop.
Okay, spirit. Okay. Just wait. Relax. Are you in here with us?
Oh my god.
I have the security cameras up. It's 5:19. 5:19.
Yeah.
And Dan is hopefully on his...
Wait.
Dan is a minute away.
Thank God. Oh my gosh. Yeah, because he probably has no service. Dad?
Oh my god, it's...
The man touches the base of the light fixture again. It flickers and goes dark, and then in the blackout, a deep guttural sound is heard close enough to the microphone that he screams and drops the phone entirely, describing afterward that he heard a whisper in his ear and saw a shadow face before losing control of the camera. And whatever that sound was, it's audible enough on the recording that calling it ambient noise or a mechanical hum doesn't quite hold. He pulls up a security camera feed on a second phone, watching the exterior, checking the time, 5:19, waiting for someone named Dan to arrive from outside, and then the banging starts on the door from the other side, and both of them call out his name like it's the best sound they've ever heard. What they never fully address, though, is what made that sound in the dark before Dan knocked, because that came from inside the freezer, not outside it, and no one else was in there with them. In the following video, a woman is casually filming herself in the mirror, checking her appearance with her phone light on, like it's any other normal moment. Nothing seems out of place at first, until a loud banging noise suddenly echoes from somewhere else in the house. Her expression changes instantly. She turns the camera and slowly walks toward the sound, her footsteps cautious. The noise leads her up the stairs, and by the time she reaches the top, her breathing is noticeably heavier, a mix of nerves and adrenaline. She pauses in front of the attic door for a moment before finally pulling it open. The attic is completely empty. No movement, no animals, no loose objects that could explain the sound. She scans the space with the camera, clearly confused and shaken, before backing away. Whatever caused the banging had completely vanished, leaving her alone with the unsettling realization that the noise came from somewhere she couldn't explain at all. Sam is a member of staff at the Jefferson Hotel, a place that's already gained a reputation for a surge of unexplained activity over the past few months, and this clip only adds to it. He shared this CCTV footage after another strange incident left him completely shaken. Take a look.
Here's the shirt pulling episode. Right now we're talking about the footage, and look at my shirt right there in the middle, and watch what happens. Right there. So we both react, and you can see right here, I'll do it in slow motion and show you. Right there, hold on. Right there. The shirt just gets pulled a little bit. And then, you know, here's our reactions. I gotta turn it down because there's some cussing going on, because we were in such disbelief. But you'll be able to see, I'm like trying to describe to her the feeling I got. It was such a weird feeling. And again, I can't say it's anything paranormal. In my opinion, I think it was, just because of the events that happened and the feeling everybody got, and you know, of course, that movement was really...
The camera shows the hotel kitchen looking quiet and empty, except for Sam and his wife standing side by side in the middle, casually talking while the rest of the room stays completely still. For a moment, nothing seems out of place. Then, without any warning, the fabric on Sam's shirt suddenly shifts and tugs outward, as if something invisible had grabbed it. The movement is quick but unmistakable, pulling hard enough to catch both of their attention instantly. Sam freezes and looks down in disbelief, while his wife looks equally shocked, clearly confused, and trying to process what she just saw. There's no breeze, no one else in the kitchen, and nothing nearby that could have caused it. They both scan the room, visibly unsettled, realizing whatever touched him wasn't visible on camera. Given the Jefferson Hotel's growing list of similar incidents, this footage only fuels speculation that something unseen is still actively moving through the building. And according to Sam, this was far from the last strange thing to happen there. Really early into the morning, CCTV footage captured inside what appears to be a salon or training space shows something unsettling happening in the early hours of the morning. It's around 4 a.m., long after anyone should be inside the building, and the room is completely still. However, the camera in the room suddenly detects motion, and what it shows is terrifying. Without warning, the fire exit door slowly opens on its own, revealing nothing but darkness behind it. No one enters, no movement can be seen, yet the door remains open for a moment before calmly closing itself again, inch by inch, as if someone unseen was pulling it shut. Just when things seem to settle, one of the mannequin heads lined neatly on the shelves suddenly tips over and falls. Seconds later, several items on the counter beneath are knocked to the floor in quick succession, as if something had swept across the surface. There's no explanation for the chain reaction, and no one is visible anywhere in the footage. Whoever or whatever opened that door clearly didn't leave quietly and wanted to be noticed by the owners. Who knows what action this will cause them to take? A father is always going to respond when their baby cries, especially in the middle of the night when the house is meant to be silent. That's exactly what Matt did when loud, panicked crying suddenly echoed through the hallway, sounding exactly like it was coming from his son's room. Without thinking twice, he rushed out of his bedroom, not knowing the living room camera was already recording what happened next.
Good.
As Matt runs down the hall, something disturbing appears in the corner of the footage. A small, nearly transparent figure, shaped like a young boy, darts around the corner and vanishes out of sight. Matt follows it instinctively, clearly focused on getting to his child, but when he reaches the spot where it disappeared, there's nothing there. No movement, no sound, just an empty hallway. Moments later, his wife confirms on camera that their baby is fast asleep, not crying at all. That's when the reality sinks in. The sound that pulled Matt out of bed didn't come from his son, and whatever ran through the house wasn't supposed to be there. The footage ends shortly after, but Matt later said he hasn't been able to explain the crying or the figure since, and the camera catching it only made the experience harder to ignore. Mr. Fender was filming a regular TikTok, nothing paranormal intended, just showing his followers how powerful his new lights were. He headed out into the woods at night to demonstrate the brightness properly, completely unaware of what was about to be revealed.
The lights are definitely functional, but unfortunately I live in a city and there are street lights everywhere. But I can find a place to go test them. Okay, I found some really dark woods. I just put some tinfoil over the reverse lights. So I'm going to show you what the stock reverse lights look like, and then I'm going to uncover them and show you what the added reverse lights look like. These are the stock reverse lights.
Literally can't see anything.
And these are the ones I just installed. Look how friggin' bright that is. This is amazing. Yeah, so these are not just for looks.
As he switches the light on, the beam floods the trees ahead, lighting up the area far more than expected. For a split second, something horrifying is visible. Wrapped tightly around the trunk of a tree just ahead is what looks unmistakably like a human arm, pale and thin, clinging to the bark. Almost immediately, as the light fully hits it, the arm pulls back behind the tree and disappears from view. Mr. Fender keeps talking, completely oblivious, continuing his demonstration like nothing happened. But viewers noticed it instantly. The comments flooded in, people replaying the clip frame by frame, all pointing out the same thing he never saw. There was no one else with him, no prank, no explanation for how an arm could be there and vanish that fast. The woods were silent, and Mr. Fender never reacted, making the moment even more disturbing. Whatever was hiding behind that tree clearly did not want to be seen, and the only reason anyone knows it was there at all is because the light was just a little too effective. He was out in nature filming quietly by himself, standing beside a wide river with a slow, almost glassy current. What immediately stood out was how silent everything felt. No birds, no insects, nothing you'd normally expect to hear in a place like this. That kind of silence is what made him start recording in the first place. He slowly turns the camera toward the opposite side of the river, focusing on a hill covered in dense trees and thick shrubbery, just scanning the landscape and explaining that something felt off.
Hey, gente, ¿qué hay? Mira, les voy a mostrar algo. Vine a pescar a un lugar muy escondido, pero ya me empezó a dar miedo porque mira cómo está. Y tengo rato que siento que algo me está siguiendo y se escuchan las ramas tronar. Y creo que encontré, si no es el hijo de Pie Grande, es el hijo de King Kong. Tiene rato mirándome, mira. Mira. Por favor, no van a decir que no lo ven. No mames, ya me veo la verga. Ánimo.
As he zooms in, a strange figure becomes visible within the trees. It's hard to make out and stays idle. The shape doesn't look like a regular animal, and it's far too large to be a person given how remote the area is. The camera shakes slightly as he tries to keep it in frame, clearly realizing he's caught something unusual. After the clip, the man said he left the area immediately, shaken by how quiet it had been and how closely the figure resembled a Sasquatch. Many who've seen the footage believe it could be Sasquatch, especially given the size, posture, and the unnatural stillness of the forest right before it appeared. The following clip comes from a Ring doorbell camera recording late one night at around 10 p.m. when everything seemed completely normal at first. The camera was doing its usual job, pointed toward the porch, with the quiet road stretching out ahead under dim streetlights. Nothing looked out of place, and there was no movement for a while. That didn't last though. As the footage continues, something slowly comes into view at the edge of the frame. A strange, ghost-like figure appears near the road, pale and semi-transparent, moving in an unnatural way that doesn't resemble a person walking by. Almost at the same time, a bright orb drifts across the camera's view, floating smoothly past the lens before disappearing. The figure continues forward, crossing part of the driveway as if it hasn't noticed the camera at all. It doesn't turn its head, doesn't react, just keeps moving until it eventually fades out of view down the road. There were no neighbors outside, no cars passing, and nothing else on the camera that could explain what was captured. The homeowners later checked outside immediately after the alert and found absolutely nothing there. Whatever walked past that Ring camera that night didn't leave footprints, shadows, or any explanation behind, making this one of the creepiest doorbell clips currently circulating. For anyone new here, Ian is a well-known ghost hunter who spent years documenting some of the most unsettling abandoned locations across the Midwest, and this next clip is a direct continuation of his exploration inside the same notoriously haunted factory. By this point, the activity had already escalated, but what happens next is one of the strangest moments he's ever caught.
Dude, how do you explain that? This thing does not look easy to move. Not at all. Yeah, dude, this thing, there's no way. There's no way. Oh, dude. What the f? Wait a minute. Are you taking that thing? Oh my God. All right, that's it. I'm done. Oh my gosh. That thing is freaking moving all over the damn place. Dude, that was so insane.
The old cart rattles back to life once again. Could this be the ghost of the tannery worker taunting me to leave his area?
All right, I'm gonna let you get back to work, okay? Holy shit.
Ian is filming deep inside the factory, slowly scanning the room, thinking about how heavy and oppressive the atmosphere feels, when his camera lands on a large metal cart, sitting completely still on the concrete floor. There's no wind, no slope, nothing around it. As he continues talking, the cart suddenly shifts, then begins sliding across the floor on its own, as if someone invisible had grabbed it and pulled. Ian immediately reacts, backing up while keeping the camera locked on it, showing there's no one nearby and nothing attached to it. The movement is smooth and deliberate, not a sudden jolt or vibration, which makes it even harder to explain away. Moments like this are why Ian believes this factory is one of the most active locations he's ever investigated. And judging by what follows later in the video, whatever was moving that cart wasn't done interacting with him yet. The following video was recorded by a team of paranormal investigators in Carson City as they explored one of the state's oldest operating hotels, the St. Charles Hotel. This place has a long and unsettling history. Over the years, there have been multiple documented deaths within the building, including reports of self-harm and unexplained incidents that have left certain rooms with a reputation no guest wants to stay in for long. Staff and visitors have shared stories of footsteps in empty hallways, voices behind closed doors, and sudden temperature drops or spikes that seem to come out of nowhere. Some even claim that certain rooms feel overwhelmingly heavy, like stepping into a space where something hasn't fully moved on. So when investigators Patrick and Jason arrived, they already knew they might experience something unusual, but they didn't expect it to happen almost immediately. Watch.
Door.
Whoa.
What did it say? 198, 313.
Whew. Near logical creature.
313 degrees.
Can you make this box go off some more?
82.
Over here.
What the hell? Dude, there was somebody, 503. Dude, I went back in here and it went to 503. If I should leave, can you make this go to just really, really hot? If I should get out of here, 500, this went to 500, 150, 590. Did you get it?
I'm sure I did.
Do you know? Oh, it's so hot in 224.
172.
Dude, it is
179.
Are you right here? Yeah. No, it's like holding my hand right now. It's like hot right around my hand.
It's super hot right here.
And it's holding there. Something flashed on the SLS too. Can you make that go even higher? Make it. Yeah. It smells like it's on fire. Yeah. 151. Are you on fire?
39.
Is it going back down?
40. 111. 172. 151. Yeah, it hasn't stuck this like this ever.
No.
Inside the room, the temperature begins to fluctuate rapidly, rising and falling in a way that doesn't match normal environmental changes. And as time goes on, the energy in the space feels different, heavier, and more intense. It reaches a point where even they decide they've had enough. But just before they left, they capture something neither of them can explain. Watch closely.
There appears to still be quite a bit of activity inside the St. Charles Hotel, and even some guests that never checked out.
Right after a strange light anomaly appears, something else happens. A white, shadow-like figure can be seen quickly moving and then disappearing into the bathroom. And this is where things start to get really unsettling. People think it could be tied to the building's past, possibly the spirit of someone who once occupied that very room, still lingering, still moving through familiar spaces. But there's another theory that's been circulating, that the light anomaly may have been a kind of manifestation point, a moment where whatever was there gathered enough energy to briefly take form before disappearing again. So what do you think that was? A trick of the light, or something that didn't want to be seen for long? Now in this next video, a man begins documenting a series of events inside his home, and what makes it so unsettling is how gradual everything feels at first, almost like something easing its way in without being noticed. On the very first day, he hears knocking coming from one of the walls, and like most people would, he brushes it off. He assumes it's the house settling, maybe pipes shifting, or temperature changes causing expansion. Nothing that immediately suggests anything unusual. By the second day, the sounds return, but this time, they change. It's no longer knocking, it's scratching. Still, he tries to rationalize it, convincing himself it could be mice in the walls or something small moving through the insulation. Uncomfortable? Yes, but still explainable, at least in his mind. But by the third day, whatever was happening stopped being subtle. Watch this.
Chicos, es la tercera noche que no sé si escuchan ese ruido, pero estoy solo, ¿me entiendes? Estoy solo en la pieza y estoy solo en mi casa. O sea, no, boludo. No, amigo, no. No, boludo, se acaba de mover. ¿Qué? No, miren, para que vean que abajo no hay nadie, boludo. Posta. O sea, no estoy jodiendo ni nada. O sea, te juro que no hay nadie, estoy yo solo acá.
And this is where things take a different turn entirely, because viewers quickly started pointing out something in the room that he didn't seem to question at first. The empty chair. It's positioned in a way that feels intentional, almost like it's meant to be used, and it's facing a mirror. Now, this might seem like a small detail, but in paranormal discussions, it's often brought up as something you shouldn't overlook. Some believe that leaving an empty chair like that can act as a kind of invitation, especially if it's placed as though someone is expected to sit there. And when that chair is facing a mirror, it adds another layer entirely, because mirrors are often thought of as gateways or amplifiers, reflecting more than just physical images. At this point, he has just one question. How does he stop all these from happening? The following video was recorded by a man who goes by Derry, someone who works at the Valley Plaza Mall, a location that, while still active during the day, has quietly picked up its own share of unsettling rumors after hours. Some people who have worked late shifts there have mentioned hearing footsteps in empty corridors, distant voices when entire sections are closed, and even the faint sound of children playing or laughing long after the mall has cleared out. Most brush it off as echoes traveling through the building, but not everyone is convinced. While walking through the mall, Derry suddenly heard something that made him stop, the sound of kids laughing. The problem is, he was completely alone, so he pulled out his camera. Watch this.
On everything I love, I just heard a group of kids over here laughing. On everything, bro. I just heard a group of kids laughing. Where the hell the kids at? What the fuck? Bro, I know I'm not tripping, bro. I just heard a whole bunch of kids laughing, bro. You hear that shit? What the bro, I'm in the mall by myself. Where the is it coming from? I know y'all heard that shit. Bro, what the I'm about to get up out this bitch. What the is that? What the that? Staring right at me. Right there. My heart beating fast as bro. I'm scared as fuck. There's a person right there in a red shirt right in front of me. Right there, y'all see him. There's a person right there. Bro, what the f? No, he just standing there. What the fuck? Bro, look, he just standing there, bro. Bro, I'm out of here.
There have been claims that certain locations can hold on to emotional imprints, especially places where large numbers of people gather over time. If that's true, then sounds like this might not be random at all. They might be echoes of moments that never fully left. This next video was recorded inside Willard Library, a place widely known not just for its books, but for something far more unsettling that has kept its reputation alive for decades. The library is said to be haunted by a spirit often referred to as the Grey Lady, a presence that staff and visitors have reported seeing for years. People have described catching glimpses of a woman in grey moving between shelves, hearing footsteps in empty hallways, and even witnessing objects shift when no one is around. Some employees have even claimed that certain areas of the library feel heavier than others, like you're being watched the moment you step in. On this particular day, a librarian was closing up when she suddenly started hearing a strange sound. Listen closely.
I can hear you back there. Why don't you show yourself to me? I know this is your home, and I mean you no disrespect. I'm just curious about you, like why you're here and who you are. My name's Missy. I'd love to know more about you.
After the video was shared, people quickly came forward with their own experiences. One man described how he had only been inside for about 10 minutes, simply printing a document for work, when he suddenly felt someone standing right next to him. He said the feeling was immediate, chills running through his entire body, and when he looked, there was no one there. What made it worse was the reaction of the staff member nearby. She saw him panic and calmly said, "Yeah, that happens all the time." He left immediately and never returned. Stories like this are exactly why many believe the presence in that library isn't just residual, but aware. Some think the so-called Grey Lady may still be wandering the halls, attached to the building for reasons unknown, occasionally making herself known to those who happen to cross her path. Others believe the energy in the building has simply built up over time, creating moments where the line between what's seen and unseen becomes thinner. Now in this next video, a man who is known for collecting statues with unusual and often tragic histories shares something he captured inside his home, and unlike most of his collection, this one seems to react. Over time, he had built a habit of researching the background of each piece he brought in, often finding that many of them were tied to loss, memory, or emotional significance, which is exactly why some people believe objects like these can sometimes carry more than just their physical form. On this particular day, he was simply playing a song when this happened. Watch closely. If you pay attention, the statue appears to move, not dramatically, but just enough to raise questions. Some believe that objects with heavy emotional or historical backgrounds can, in rare cases, become vessels for lingering energy, especially if they were once meaningful to someone who experienced deep attachment or loss. According to this theory, the song may not have been random at all. It could have triggered something familiar, something that resonated with whatever is tied to the object. So what do you think this was? A coincidence, or something reacting to a memory it never let go of? The following video was recorded by a woman named Alex, who began noticing something unsettling about the house right next to hers, a place that, by all accounts, should have been completely empty. The neighbor who lived there had sadly passed away after a heart attack, and since then, the house had remained untouched. No family moved in, no renovations, no new tenants, just a quiet, closed space that hadn't shown any sign of life for a long time, until Alex started noticing something that didn't add up. For several nights in a row, lights inside the house would suddenly turn on, and then off again, at different times, with no clear pattern. So one night, she decided to record it. Watch this.
It just looked like somebody, or it still looks like someone's looking out the window, but I can't tell. Does that look like a whole person standing there in that window? Like kind of looking out?
It's a refrigerator.
Okay.
I can see the handle of it.
No one.
No.
That's the neighbors.
No. That dark window.
But that's his bedroom. Another bedroom.
That window was open. That window wasn't open.
No.
That window hasn't been open.
No.
You look at that house every day.
No one's been in this house since he passed, other than when they came and redid the floors and everything to get it so people can move in it, but no one's even come and looked at the property. Let me try something. Okay, I haven't done this filter in a minute. Let me see if it works. Hold on. Okay. Let's see. All right, I hate when it does that. Let's see if I can get it. Let me go out to my porch real quick. All right.
Oh.
See, it's doing that every time. No, I know.
Leave it alone.
Let me try it one more time. All right, so I just turned the filter off so I can zoom in one more time. Y'all, I don't know what's going on, but it's not normal. He won't let me go over there and investigate any further. There's that open window again, and the light's not even on over there. It's just literally on in his living room, and that's where he always chilled, was in his living room.
I know. But...
All right, I'm going to end it here, y'all. I'll update you in a little while if I see anything.
Her first thought was simple. Maybe the lights were on a timer. But when she reached out to the landlord to confirm, the answer made things worse. There was no timer installed. No one had been inside the house. And according to him, no new tenant had moved in. So if that's the case, then who or what is turning the lights on? If the former owner had a strong attachment to that space, some believe it's possible that part of him never truly left, that what Alex is seeing could be a presence continuing its normal patterns, unaware or unwilling to move on. But like always, You be the judge. The following video is about a man who believes he's living in a haunted apartment, and not because of what single incident, but because of a series of small, unsettling experiences that have slowly built up over time. He's mentioned hearing movement in rooms he just left, faint sounds at night when everything should be quiet, and that constant feeling of being watched, especially when the lights are off. One evening, something happened that he couldn't explain away. Watch closely.
Watch.
Tell me I'm not on fucking crack, dude. Hell no. What the f? Dude, I'm out of here.
In the moment the light switches on, you can briefly see what looks like a figure entering the frame, but almost instantly, as the light fully comes back, there's nothing there. No movement, no shadow, no one standing where something clearly just was. There's a theory that whatever it is might be avoiding direct visibility, choosing moments where it can appear just enough to be noticed, but never long enough to be confirmed. And if that's the case, then it wasn't caught by accident. It let itself be seen. And if you think nothing was there, then what walked into frame the moment the light came on? And more importantly, where did it go? Until more updates are shared, this remains a mystery. This next video dates back to September 24th, 2016, when a young girl was walking home after spending the evening at a friend's house in Boswell. What should have been a short, uneventful walk quickly turns into something far more unsettling. At some point during her journey, she begins to notice the sound of something moving behind her, keeping pace, not rushing, not falling behind, just staying there, close enough to be heard, but never clearly seen. The longer it continues, the harder it becomes to ignore, until eventually she decides to turn around and confront whatever is following her, recording the moment in case things escalate. Watch.
Who's there?
At first glance, the figure looks like it could be an animal, something like a large dog or even a deer, standing low to the ground in the darkness. But then it moves, not in a way that animals normally do, but onto its hind limbs, revealing a shape that feels wrong the longer you look at it. The body appears thin and gaunt, almost unnaturally so, with long, awkward limbs that don't seem proportionate. Its head is rounded, sitting on a defined neck, and when the light catches its eyes, they reflect back in a way that feels less like a natural animal and more like something aware of being seen. This is where many viewers began to connect what they were seeing to a creature often described in local folklore, something known as the Brushweiler. The Brushweiler is said to be a shadowy, humanoid entity that lurks in wooded or rural areas, often mistaken for animals at a distance. Reports describe it as something that moves between two states, sometimes on all fours, blending into the environment like wildlife, and other times standing upright, revealing a much more human-like structure. What makes it particularly disturbing is the way it is said to observe rather than attack immediately, following from a distance, studying movements, and only revealing itself when it chooses to. The following clip was captured by a man who had already been dealing with a series of unsettling occurrences inside his home, long before he ever decided to record anything. For weeks, he had been hearing strange noises late at night, subtle at first, like something shifting when no one else was awake, but over time, the sounds became harder to ignore. There were moments where it felt like something was moving just out of sight, always close, but never fully revealed. Eventually, one night, he decides to record. Watch. At the start, there is a strange sound, something sharp and unnatural that immediately puts him on edge. It isn't loud enough to clearly identify, but it carries a tone that doesn't sound like it belongs in a quiet home. Trying to make sense of it, he moves toward the source, slowly approaching his closet, and that's when everything changes. As he opens it, for a split second, something appears from within his jacket, a hand, and almost immediately after, another loud scream fills the space. Closets are enclosed, shadowed, and rarely checked thoroughly, making them the perfect place for something to remain unnoticed while still being close enough to observe. Some interpretations suggest that this could be a form of demonic presence, something that doesn't need to occupy an entire space, but instead attaches itself to specific areas, objects, or even darkness itself. In many cases, these entities are believed to prefer tight, hidden environments, places where they can remain concealed while still interacting with their surroundings when they choose to. And the behavior in this clip seems to reflect that idea, but you be the judge. In this next clip, Frank, fresh out of college and eager to step into a new phase of his life, finally moves into his own place, a space that should feel like independence, comfort, and a clean slate. One afternoon, while settling in, he decides to give his parents a virtual tour, casually walking them through the rooms, pointing things out, nothing out of the ordinary. But in the middle of that call, something changes. Watch.
So I was doing a walkthrough of my new place, and this
we've got
happened.
nearly everything set up nice. Microwave, fridge. The old owner's left this weird phone here. Anyway, it's going to be the dining area. I haven't set it quite up yet. Okay, yep, moving out.
Without any contact, the drawers and cupboards begin to swing open on their own, not slightly, not subtly, but with enough force to immediately break the calm of the moment. But that isn't what unsettles viewers the most, because if you look closely at the table in the room, there's something sitting there, a mannequin head. At first, it seems harmless, just another object left behind by the previous tenant, something easy to overlook in a new space filled with unfamiliar items. But then it moves until it's facing directly toward Frank, and that single moment changes the tone of everything. Frank later explains that the mannequin, along with a few other unusual items, came with the apartment, things he chose to keep out of respect, not thinking much of them at the time. But after witnessing that, it becomes harder to see them as just leftover belongings. His mother, who is on the call and sees everything unfold in real time, is convinced that what they experienced isn't normal, and she immediately pushes for a spiritual cleansing believing something in that house isn't at rest. His father, however, takes the opposite stance, attributing it to stress, imagination, or a misinterpretation of what they saw. And that leaves Frank in a difficult position. Who would you believe if you were Frank? The following video was captured by a family security camera while they were asleep, but the footage is only part of a much longer and more disturbing experience they claim has been going on for months. According to them, whatever is in that house doesn't limit itself to small signs or subtle disturbances, because the activity has been intense, persistent, and almost always worse at night, when the house is supposed to be at its quietest. They describe being woken up by sudden noises, objects shifting in other rooms, and the constant feeling that something is moving through the house after they've gone to bed. There were even moments where they would wake up and find things out of place, as if someone had been walking around freely while they slept, despite every door being locked. One night, they finally caught something on camera. Watch.
This is another footage of demons in my house. This is what happened while my wife and I be sleeping.
Objects begin to move aggressively. Doors open on their own, creating the impression that something is actively moving from one space to another rather than just lingering in one spot. Some viewers believe this could simply be a restless spirit, something trying to get attention, a presence that hasn't moved on and is making itself known in the only ways it can. But the family insists there's more to it than that, because alongside the movement and noise, there was something else. For weeks, they dealt with a strong, rotten smell that filled parts of the house without warning. A smell they couldn't trace to any physical source. No leaks, no spoiled food, nothing that could explain it. And then, just as suddenly as it appeared, it disappeared on its own. And then there's what happens inside their bedroom. Watch. The television turns on by itself. Moments later, the curtain moves, not in a way that suggests a breeze or airflow, but as though something moved it. And this is where it becomes deeply unsettling, because it's one thing to think something might be in your home. It's something else entirely to realize it may be moving around while you're asleep. So when you take everything into account, the aggressive movement, the unexplained odor, the activity happening while they sleep, it raises a question that isn't easy to dismiss. Is this just a spirit trying to be noticed, or something far more deliberate and far more dangerous, making itself at home in their space? You decide. The following video is about a man who finally decided to install cameras throughout his home because the strange activity had escalated to a point he could no longer ignore. Doors were slamming on their own, objects scattered across floors, and sometimes entire shelves seemed to empty themselves. He believed a ghost, or something far more malevolent, was roaming the house, leaving no corner untouched. Watch.
Zaczyna się znowu to samo.
A door slams like something is pushing it, testing boundaries, or even warning him. Another day, the camera captures this. Items perched neatly on shelves suddenly topple, as if yanked down by invisible hands. It looks deliberate, angry, and chaotic. Some speculate the presence may be trying to assert control over the space, sending a message, marking territory, or punishing intrusions. Others fear it's a form of intimidation, testing whether he'll stay, testing whether he's vulnerable. The randomness, the force, the sheer unpredictability makes it terrifying. A presence that's not just watching, but acting. He's determined to stay and figure out what's really going on. But the question is, if something can move, manipulate, and terrify this much, is staying a brave choice or a dangerous one? You be the judge. This next clip comes from a family living near old gypsum and coal mining land, right on the edge of the Appalachian Mountains, in a home that's been passed down through generations. This isn't just any house. It's been in the family for decades. Parents, grandparents, even great-grandparents all lived here, and for years it felt like a safe, familiar place. But lately, it hasn't felt that way. Some days, everything is normal. Other days, things happen that no one can explain. Footsteps echo down empty hallways. Voices whisper when no one is speaking. Shadows move in the corners, just beyond sight. There's a constant, pressing feeling that something else is inside. Always watching, always waiting. One evening, while getting ready for bed, she caught this on camera. Watch closely.
I'm getting ready to go to bed. My house is a whole damn mess. Because we're redoing everything. And then Dolly ate the corner of the drywall. That's my shadow. What is that? I don't know why I'm trying to do that to my damn self. Okay. God, every time I try to recover. The laundry light is on. We had to take the curtains off. Y'all are gonna peek first, okay? Okay. Make sure there's nothing behind me. Oh, my Lena. Hold on, I gotta pause it. Okay, sorry, I thought I heard one of the dogs yelping. That's weird. Oh, hell, I always scare myself. Okay, you know what? We're just gonna go to bed, Shooks. I had to make sure all the lights and heaters are off. Okay. Heaters are off. Your room is on. Okay. It looked like somebody peeked around the corner, but I don't think it's plain. We're gonna go to damn bed. I love y'all. Bye.
After she mentions the laundry light being on, a voice responds with a drawn-out, eerie yes, almost as if it knows her, as if it's acknowledging her presence. Viewers have speculated that the house itself might be feeding this activity. Every time the family makes repairs or reconstructs a section of the home, it disturbs whatever lingers there, agitating the unseen presence further. What else do you see? In the following video, the man behind the camera keeps moving through what looks like a storage area, the kind of tight corridor where every box and shadow feels like it has weight, and you can tell he is already on edge as he scans each corner with the camera. He stops when he notices a door that should never be opened during the investigation, sitting cracked just enough to make the hallway feel wrong, and he slowly leans in to look behind it, even though the team is nowhere nearby.
La puerta se abre y se cierra sola.
Se está abriendo esa puerta. No hay nadie. Y por acá también se escucha ruido.
He finds the door opening a crack, so opens it and checks behind it just to see nothing. Because of this, he walks away and the door shuts by itself as a strange noise starts playing behind it, and he speed walks out of the hallway. The second that door slams, you can see his whole body tense, because that wasn't wind, and it definitely wasn't timing or coincidence. And the noise that follows sounds like something trying to push through the wall just to remind him he is not supposed to be there. His footsteps turn into a full speed walk that almost looks like he wants to run, but refuses to make noise, and every few seconds he glances back like he expects the door to open again. Moments like that show exactly why investigators always say curiosity is one thing, but when the building answers you on its own, that is when you learn how fast fear can move. It was late enough that the local markets should have felt peaceful, but every shutter was pulled down tight and the whole place looked abandoned, except for May cutting through the empty rows. She knew the place was closed and shouldn't have held any noise at all, which is why the first faint scream stopped her in her tracks, sounding like someone crying out in pain from deep inside the metal-covered stalls. She followed it slowly, each step making the sound grow sharper and more desperate, until it felt like it was right beside her, but no matter where she turned, there was never anyone there.
Imagínate andar por la central de abastos y oír esto.
The screaming and crying keep getting louder as she walks, yet she can't find the source even when it sounds feet away. By the time she reached the end of the walkway, the noise was so overwhelming it felt like it was coming from the walls, and she spun around expecting someone to stumble out, but the shutters were sealed tight like they hadn't moved in hours. That was the moment she realized she wasn't chasing a person at all, and the way the sound cut off instantly once she stopped filming, almost like it knew she understood, made the silence after feel even worse. May had walked straight into something trying to be heard, and the fact that it never showed itself only made it clearer that she had been listening to a ghost. It happened late in the evening when the house was already settling into that quiet that makes every shadow seem a little thicker, and Charlie kept tugging at his dad's sleeve, saying there was a scary boy standing across the room staring at him. His dad brushed it off at first, calling it pretend, but Charlie wasn't smiling or joking. He just kept insisting the boy was real and he didn't want to be near him. Eventually, the dad told him to show where this scary boy was, so Charlie nervously walked with him through the hall and stopped at a doorway, pointing inside with his hand shaking like he expected something to move.
What are you saying, Charlie? There's a scary boy where? What do you mean? What, are you doing pretend? Yeah, you're just playing pretend, aren't you? Do you want to show me? Show me then. Come on. You show me where he is.
This is actually fucking weird.
Where? Where? In there? In there? Okay, get ready, Charlie. No scary boy. No, there's nothing there, mate. Do you want me to go in? Look. There's absolutely nothing in here. You've got nothing to be scared about. I've absolutely shit myself. There's nothing to be scared about. There's nothing here. That's just the bathroom. Nothing there, buddy. Yeah. Yeah. That's just the shower. Never been more scared in my entire life. See, told you. Nothing there, mate. Perfect. Come on. Let me see Lee.
The father opens the door and sees nothing, while Charlie refuses to step past the threshold. The moment the door swings open to an empty room, the dad turns back confused, but Charlie steps back like he's afraid something invisible is right in front of him, claiming that the scary boy is still there, even if his dad can't see him. That kind of fear doesn't come from pretending, and the way Charlie wouldn't even look into the room made the dad realize this wasn't just a kid's imagination. It was something he couldn't explain, and something Charlie clearly wished he hadn't noticed at all. It was supposed to be a quiet night in Braden's room, but the ceiling kept creaking with slow, heavy footsteps, even though nobody was home, and there shouldn't have been anything moving above him at all. He sat still for a second, trying to convince himself it was the house settling, but the steps were too steady, too human, so he grabbed his flashlight and started walking through the dark halls with that kind of nervous focus where every sound feels closer than it should.
Wow, it's really bad right now. Okay, hold on. Jesus. Okay, hold up. Why is the tree on right? Whatever that is coming from up here. Should I attempt to go in there? Because that was coming, all that thumping, it was coming from like right in there, in that room. Oh.
I'm up here for a sec, man.
What the?
He points his flashlight upstairs and hears his own exact voice say, "Come up for a sec." The way the voice coming down the stairs matched his tone perfectly meant he froze, because there was no way his own voice should be calling him from a place where nobody was standing. It wasn't an echo, and it wasn't a trick of the house. It sounded like something pretending to be him just to get his attention. He didn't step closer. He didn't even breathe for a moment, because when something upstairs can mimic you perfectly, the last thing you want to do is give it the chance to talk again. The following video was captured amidst a normal slow night at the sneaker shop, the kind where the worker is just sweeping the floor and straightening boxes while the CCTV quietly records every corner of the room. Nothing feels off until the air suddenly shifts a little, just enough to make him pause, and the camera catches him glancing toward the back, like he sensed something move. As he keeps cleaning, the door to the back of the shop slams shut on its own, even though nothing is near it. He jumps and stares because there's no draft, no co-workers, no reason for it to slam with that much force, and the CCTV angle shows the room behind it is completely empty. It's the kind of movement that looks deliberate, like something wanted to make itself noticed, and the way he slowly backs away from the doorway says everything. Even in a brightly lit shop, surrounded by sneakers and shelves, that door made it clear he wasn't alone at all. The same sneaker shop is open now, customers walking around and the place feeling completely normal, like nothing strange had ever happened there. And one of the workers is helping a guy try on a new pair he picked from the wall. They're chatting casually as the customer slips the sneakers on. Then he walks over toward the mirror to get a better look, while the worker follows a few steps behind, totally unaware that the cameras are still watching every corner and about to capture something crazy.
Yeah, I'm going, bro. Pharaoh, pretty cool. He's trying to take it on myself. Hell no.
As the customer stands in front of the mirror, a single sneaker from the display wall drops to the floor on its own, with no one near it, causing both of them to panic and run. The moment that sneaker hits the ground, they both whip around because it didn't slide. It didn't wobble off. It fell straight down like something knocked it loose with intention. You can see the confusion turn into fear instantly, and the worker doesn't even try to explain it before bolting toward the front door with the customer right behind him. It feels like whatever slammed the back door before was still there, waiting for another chance to be noticed, and that single falling sneaker was enough to send them both running. The shop had only been open for 12 minutes when the man working started saying something was moving around in the attic, and the walls, like the whole building, was settling wrong, and the fact that the store next door was abandoned made every sound feel way more isolated than it should. He walked around the aisles with his camera, trying to prove he wasn't imagining it, and the second he passed the back corner, he heard a hard knock hit behind the wall, like something was following him from the other side.
Okay, we have literally been open for 12 minutes. There is so much stuff happening right now that I don't even understand it. So I'm going to show you. No one's on the cameras. There is stuff coming from the attic and in the walls again. And if you look it up, the store next to us doesn't exist. They went out of business. No one's here. Hello? Hello? Did you hear the knock? Hello? Can you knock again? It's honestly a great day to be haunted. I'm just recording right from it. I don't know if the machines are so loud, but there's so much knocking coming from the attic. This is insane. Like literally. Okay. I'm gonna throw up. I'm not ready for this. It is too early for this. We're not even open. Hello? Is there a reason you're so active right now? My Jesus Christ! What the fuck is that? I can't fake that. Holy cow. Okay, wait. I'm gonna try to do one continuous video proving that nobody's up here. Oh my god. I have goosebumps. Wow, this ain't even a TikTok. Okay. I'm just... Okay, it literally just stopped. Okay, can't show the code. Something literally flew off the wall. Bro. Spirit, is there a reason you're so upset today? Oh my goodness, Jesus. I don't even know where to go. Okay. Holy, look at this. I'm a little actually scared right now because this is in the morning. We don't usually experience this much in the morning.
The knocks keep happening as he circles the store, most of them coming from the attic, and the place isn't even open yet, so there is no way it could be a prankster customer. He pulls down the attic ladder, and loud banging erupts above him before going silent. But right as he says it stopped, more knocks explode across the ceiling, and something is thrown off the wall. He shows the item on the floor through the CCTV feed. When the object hits the ground, he freezes, because that wasn't just noise, it was force, and the attic ladder hanging open behind him makes it feel like something could climb down at any second. He stands there breathing hard while staring into the dark above, and the silence that follows feels like the building is waiting for him to move so it can answer again. Ian, a ghost hunter in the Midwest, entered a decaying factory that locals claimed was haunted. The air was thick with dust and the faint smell of rust, and the silence made every creak echo like a warning. He set up his equipment, hoping to communicate with whatever lingered in the shadows, and immediately something responded.
Who are you? Whoa. Sir, why do you still haunt this tannery? But you said railing. Railing. Like fell over the railing. Are you saying that you died on these catwalks? And that you fell? Whoa. It sounded like that's what happened. Jesus, this is so crazy. Thank you, sir, for communicating with me. Is there anything you would like to say? Sounded like it said work. Are you going back to work? Well, I'm gonna go ahead and let you get back to work then, if that's the case.
The voice was faint but clear, saying, "Lost my balance." Ian asked why it haunted the place, and the reply came simply, "Railing." Piecing it together, he assumed the spirit had fallen from the railing in life, and the ghost confirmed that's what happened. Feeling a mix of relief and awe, Ian thanked the spirit for sharing its story, then gave it one last chance to speak. The final words whispered back, "It's working," leaving Ian with the eerie sense that the factory still held secrets, and that even in death, some connections lingered longer than expected. Chris had brought out a Ouija board the night before with his friend, hoping to finally get some kind of response after everything that had been happening around his house. But the plan fell flat, and the board stayed silent the entire time. Now he was home alone, trying to convince himself that the quiet meant things were settling down. But the house had that strange stillness that always made him feel like something was listening. He was sitting in the living room when a sudden knock echoed through the house, even though no one was at the door, followed by a soft tapping that seemed to come from the room he was in. Take a look.
A lot of you guys are gonna be mad at me, but me and my cousin broke this out. Messed with it last night.
Dad had sex on a Ouija board. Oh boy.
We did it the proper way, though. I know this is a kid's toy, but y'all don't understand the kind of shit y'all's getting into when y'all fuck with this. At least some people don't. I heard it, but I didn't see it. I still hear it. You can hear that, can't you? I can. It sound like tapping. Everybody's like, oh, it's the hutch. It's the hutch. Can you do it again? This is a selfie stick I taped to a tripod.
He stood up and looked around, expecting to find something obvious, but the room was empty and nothing moved except for the faint shift of shadows from the lamp. A whisper slipped through the air behind him, a quiet hello that he didn't even register at first because it sounded too close and too low to make sense. Before he could process the stillness, the camera stand beside him toppled over on its own, hitting the floor with a sudden clatter that made him jump. He picked it up and propped it back into place, trying to laugh it off, but the uneasy feeling lingered like whatever whispered at him was still standing right behind his shoulder. Chris was sitting in his living room later that night, with the TV playing softly beside him and his dog curled up at his feet, trying to enjoy the quiet, even though the house kept giving him that uneasy feeling again. The tapping started up just like before, faint and scattered, and then the door started to vibrate.
Stop chewing on me. I'm sorry, y'all. He's just playing. It may be loud on my phone. I don't know yet. But yeah, we're just chilling. And I swear, up and down, I could have swore the door was vibrating. It's a sliding door. Slides into the wall. There it goes. It's making me shake a little bit. I'm sorry. That scared the shit out of me. I thought I had one turn us to the light.
While he stroked the dog, the door across the room began to vibrate like something on the other side was pushing against it. And this is the moment that he pulled out the camera and kept it aimed straight at the door. The door slid open just a little on its own, then slowly crept even farther, revealing a deeper patch of darkness behind it that made the room feel colder. After a few seconds, it opened all the way, swinging wide until the entire doorway was visible and completely empty. Not a single movement inside. Chris stood up with his dog watching closely, walked toward the room, and flipped the light on. The space was perfectly still, every corner untouched, literally not a soul in sight. The silence felt even heavier than before, like whatever opened the door had stepped back just out of reach the moment he crossed the threshold. We might see more of Chris in future videos. The hospital room looked totally ordinary on camera, just a standard space with a bed in the center, a chair pushed against the wall, a small table with folded blankets, and the usual equipment sitting quietly in standby. Nothing looked out of place, and the frame stayed steady for a while, showing a perfectly normal scene with no movement at all. Out of nowhere, a strange, uneven sound slipped into the audio, almost like a motor trying to start even though nothing in the room was supposed to be running, and the backrest of the bed began lifting on its own in small, awkward jumps. It kept rising higher, little by little, climbing at a slow, steady angle until it was nearly upright at 90 degrees, with no one near the controls and nothing touching it. The rest of the room stayed exactly the same, the chair still, the other equipment untouched, every corner frozen except for that single, impossible movement. When the noise finally stopped, the bed stayed locked in that upright position, leaving the room looking perfectly normal again, except for the one thing that clearly hadn't moved by itself. Sabia had a security camera set up in her kitchen in the Netherlands, just a regular feed showing the table and a few candles sitting untouched near the back wall. Everything looked calm for a while, nothing unusual happening at all except for a few soft orbs drifting across the screen, like dust catching the light. Then, without any movement around it, the candle suddenly sparked to life, a quick flash that turned into a steady flame, as if someone had just struck a match right beside it. Nothing else shifted in the room, no breeze touched the wick, and there was no one standing anywhere near it. The flame held perfectly still after forming, burning like it had been lit on purpose, even though Sabia knew the candle had been cold for hours. The rest of the kitchen stayed completely normal on camera, but the sudden light from the wick made the whole space feel different, like something unseen had stepped in just long enough to leave a mark, before disappearing again. A few nights later, Sabia checked another piece of security footage, this time from the sitting room, and the scene looked completely still at first, with the furniture exactly where it always stayed, and the time on the right showing it was practically midnight. The camera picked up a few drifting orbs crossing the frame like pale specks floating through the air, the same kind she had seen in the kitchen earlier, but nothing else seemed off until the corner of the room shifted. a chair that had been pushed neatly into the corner slid forward on its own, moving in one smooth line across the floor, even though no one was near it. More orbs drifted by in clusters right after, almost like the movement stirred something up, and then the painting on the wall began tilting slowly side to side as if an invisible hand was nudging it. The rest of the room stayed perfectly quiet. No shadows moving, no lights flickering, just the chair out of place and the painting swaying gently before settling back into place. Watching it all unfold at midnight made the sitting room feel less like a normal part of the house and more like another spot where something unseen was making itself known piece by piece. Who knows if it continued, because this is the last we heard from Sabia. In the following video, Stephen was washing dishes with the usual evening noises in the background, the sink running, the faint hum of the fridge, and nothing out of the ordinary until something suddenly tapped hard against the middle of his back and bounced onto the floor behind him. The sound made him jerk around with that instant confusion where your brain tries to catch up to what your body already felt, and he had no idea what could have hit him because he knew no one else was supposed to be that close.
Dude, I'm a little wigged out right now. So I was washing dishes and just putting things away, and all of a sudden I feel something hit me in the back and I heard it bounce. Look at this shit. And this ball hits me in the back right shoulder out of nowhere. And what's even crazier is look where Avery's at. Now mind you, I just got done washing the air fryer and was drying it off. Whatever it was had a little bit of force. And I'm gonna tell you right now, Lauren's been in bed for almost 2 days. Like, she gets up for a little bit, but she has not felt good at all. And Avery, let's just face it, if he's not watching his tablet, he's on the Oculus or he's outside. And I knew with it being like 12 o'clock, he's inside. So I have no idea. Now I have a lot of activity. It's not like malicious or anything, but that right there was the first time that's happened. So I don't know, what do y'all think about it?
When he cut to the CCTV footage, the camera clearly showed a small ball shooting across the room and hitting him square in the back before dropping to the floor, and the look on his face as he turned around said everything about how unexpected it was. He switched the feed over to another part of the house where his son Avery was sitting in plain view, completely occupied and nowhere near the kitchen, just to make it absolutely clear it couldn't have been him messing around. The replay showed no one behind Stephen, no shadows moving, no sign of any trick, just the ball launching on its own and hitting him like it had been tossed by someone he couldn't see. Elysia was alone at her storage unit in the middle of the day, filming down the long, narrow corridor that always felt eerie, but she never really questioned it. The overhead lights buzzed softly, reflecting off the rows of identical metal doors, while her voice echoed down as she told us about what was happening. She wasn't expecting anything at all until she started filming, just checking on a few things she had stored away, when something at the very end of the hallway caught her attention.
I'm over here at the storage, and I don't know if it's me, but y'all tell me I don't see that. Oh no. I don't know if it's just a fan like going in and out, but the is that? Duh. I don't. Maybe I'm bugging. No, I know y'all just see that, right? Oh!
A dark shape peeked out from the corner, a black blob leaning just far enough around the wall for its outline to show before sliding back out of sight again. She kept filming, trying to convince herself it was a trick of the light, but the shape returned a second later, then slipped away, then peeked again like it was deliberately watching her from the far end of the corridor. Nothing else in the hallway moved, no doors rattled, no shadows shifted, except for that one shape darting back and forth behind the last wall. The emptiness made the whole place feel colder, and the repeated movements left her with the awful sense that whatever was hiding around that corner wasn't trying to avoid her at all, but was studying her from a distance she couldn't close. In the follow-up clip, Elysia returned to the storage facility in the daytime, hoping the daylight would make the place feel less threatening. But the moment she stepped inside, she realized it didn't help at all. The entire corridor was pitch dark, even though the building should have been fully lit during business hours. She was the only customer there, with only a couple of staff somewhere in the front office, so she decided to walk in anyway.
Alright, y'all. I'm finally back at this place. And you know, I'm in the process of moving in and out. Right now, and nobody here. Like, listen. If I see something again, I'm definitely reporting to the manager to put up that video, because I'm not playing. There's one car over there, but I'm just gonna see, because right now, everything's dark. Like, inside there, I don't know if you can see it, but it's dark. Like, look how scary that shit is, bro. This is why I hate doing this shit, but I got no choice. This here. See, like, I know when you go in, it censors somebody that's here. Oh, fuck. So, see, that's that shit that be scary. And, like, I'm on the second floor. Okay. I know that this lady probably lives here or she does her business here, but she's here every single day, nonstop. If that chair's not there, she's not here. If the chair's there, she's there. And yeah, so I don't know if she lives there or does her little business there. What is that? Yeah, anyways, yeah, I don't know. Alright. Listen, see, this is my storage. And I'm honestly, I'm like acting like you guys are human, or bitch, I might be living here tonight. No. Oh my. I'm not doing this. And there's no way There's no way I'm in the fucking storage stuck in this shit. Hello! Oh my god.
As soon as she crossed the motion sensor, the overhead lights flickered on one by one, illuminating the long hallway in a way that instantly reminded her of the last video. She went upstairs to the second floor, unlocked her storage unit, and began recording inside while she rearranged a few items. Out of nowhere, the sound of something sliding echoed from directly outside the unit. A long, dragging noise like metal or plastic scraping across the floor. Elysia froze, staring toward the open doorway before rushing forward and pulling the metal shutter down as fast as she could, trapping herself safely inside so whatever had caused the noise couldn't get in. She waited quietly, breathing hard, but the sliding sound didn't repeat. Later that day, staff reviewed the CCTV for her, and the cameras confirmed it. Nobody else had entered that floor at all during the time she was there, making the situation far more unnerving than she wanted to believe. The following video was recorded back in 2019 by a man's mother after days of insisting that something was inside her house, something she didn't understand, and something her son refused to believe. She kept telling him there was a demon in the house. He brushed it off, told her she was overreacting, that it was all in her head. So that night, when she started hearing noises coming from the kitchen again, she decided to record it. Not because she was sure of what she'd find, but because she wanted proof. Something she could send him, something he couldn't explain away. Watch closely.
In 2019, my mom said she was fighting demons in her apartment. I didn't believe her. She sent me video proof. Now someone tell me what in the grudge shit was going on here. I put picture at end of video, pause it, turn phone upside down and zoom in.
In the top right corner, something appears. It doesn't step out. It doesn't fully reveal itself. It just peeks, a head-like shape, barely visible, emerging for a moment and then pulling back like it knows it's being watched. 1 second it's there, the next, it's gone. Some people believe this is exactly how certain entities operate, especially ones described as demonic, never fully revealing themselves at first, but lingering at the edges, observing, waiting, slowly making their presence known in small, controlled ways. But till this day, what his mother saw that night, whatever kept drawing her attention back to that same part of the kitchen, remains a mystery. But what do you think? In this next video, a woman named Victoria goes down to her basement to check the breaker. A simple task that shouldn't feel out of the ordinary, but in her case, the basement had already started to feel like a place she avoided whenever she could. For weeks leading up to this moment, she had been experiencing something she couldn't fully explain, faint whispers that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once, quiet enough to second guess, yet clear enough to make her stop what she was doing and listen, sometimes sounding like someone trying to speak just out of reach, other times resembling her name being called in a low, almost careful tone. She tried to ignore it, convincing herself it was just the silence playing tricks on her, but deep down, it never really felt that simple. Then one night, she heads down to the basement again. Watch. Out of the silence, a voice says, "Hey," not distorted, not distant, but direct, like it came from right there with her. Some viewers believe moments like this suggest an intelligent presence, something that doesn't just exist in the space, but interacts with it, choosing when to reveal itself and how, starting with whispers before becoming more direct, almost as if it's testing how far it can go. Others warn that voices like this, especially when they sound calm and intentional, can be far more unsettling than loud or chaotic disturbances, because they feel closer, more personal, and harder to dismiss. Now this next video follows a man named Nate, whose experiences seem to trace back to something he unknowingly brought home after working at a cemetery, a place already tied to death, memory, and in some beliefs, lingering presence. Since then, things haven't been normal for him. He's reported waking up with unexplained marks on his body, scratches that appear overnight with no clear cause, and there have been moments where objects in his home, including knives, have been thrown or displaced in ways that feel far too deliberate to ignore, suggesting that whatever is happening isn't just passive, but capable of interacting with its surroundings. Then one morning, he captures this on camera. Watch.
So I was just in the shower, and as I was getting out of the shower and drying off, I heard something or someone run down the stairs. I thought maybe it was a dog, but she is sound asleep on the bed. So that tells me it wasn't her, and also tells me that she didn't even hear it. So something ran down the stairs. Then I didn't hear anything after that. The front door camera didn't go off, so nobody left. And I'm gonna check the back door. Back door is locked, both locks. Hello? activity's really been ramping up these past few days. And it's honestly been a little unsettling, but both.
After he says hello, a faint response can be heard, almost like something is answering him, acknowledging his presence in a way that feels intentional rather than coincidental. What makes this even more unsettling is the pattern he's noticed, because most of the activity seems to center around specific areas of the house, particularly the kitchen and the basement. On another day, after hearing strange noises coming from the kitchen, he decides to check it out, expecting to find something ordinary. Instead, he sees this. Watch.
Something was banging here in the kitchen. Sounded like something hit the wall or something hit the floor. I heard something. Of course, it's empty. Back door is locked, top and bottom. What the That's up there. I wonder if that's what I heard. What is with the knives and the scissors and the sharp objects? Jesus Christ.
Considering everything Nate has already experienced, the marks, the thrown objects, the voice responding, this moment feels less like an isolated incident and more like a continuation of something that has been building over time, something that is becoming more comfortable, more visible, and possibly more direct in how it makes itself known. And when something answers you, moves things, and leaves marks behind, it raises a much heavier question, not just about what it is, but about how long it has been there and how much further it might go.